Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to continue on completing the square. And I want you to go ahead and try your hand at number 36 and see how you do on that one. It should be somewhat similar to 35, whose corrected version I showed you shortly previously. Okay, let's go over these here. This one. What I'd recommend doing that we talked about yesterday was doing a standard form rewrite, which is like this. Are we okay on this so far? And then if we say equals minus, then we're going to take this x squared, and this is going to have to be minus 2x, right? And then plus something here, and then plus or minus something here, and then finally plus 8. Are we okay till there? And again, to me, the easy thing is to make a mistake right here, kind of in the switching of the symbols. So what would you have to add to this?
4.
That's not. I would add 1. Okay. How do we get 1 on that?
2 minus 2, and then the 1.
Yeah, so we get 2 minus 2.
2 divided
by 2 equals negative 1, and then we square negative 1 equals 1. Okay, are we okay on that? All right, very good. And so now what do we have to do over here? Well, that's minus 1, so we have to add 1 here, right? Right? Did I get it right today on this one? So what do we have as our answer? So that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's go ahead. Where it came from is right here, because what I have to do is rewrite these two terms to match these. If I put the negative sign out here, then negative times x squared equals negative x squared. But I have to also make this negative, so when I multiply through that negative, I get this. Does that make sense? Good question. And then one thing you can always do to check, how can you check your work on these things? How can you check your work on these things? Chloe, you got a test next week on this. How are you going to check your work to make sure you got this right? Okay, almost, Chloe, okay, put them in your calculator. Check for equivalency, right? Is that what you meant to say?
I did. I tried saying that.
And you got the same one? So that's what you did, Robert? Okay, I need you to do that on your tests, all right? You'll get better grades on your tests. Any other questions on this one? Okay, good work, good work, good work. Let me erase this so now we have this one, and this one here kind of, you have a little bit different situation because of what? This 2.
Put it on the outside of the parentheses.
Yeah, I'll do that, and I'll kind of help you through that. So we take 2, and Robert is right about that. So we have 2x squared, and what goes inside here?
3.
Plus 3x, right? Who said that for us? Chloe, very good. And then plus something we don't know yet. And then we're going to have, it's probably going to be minus here, because that's going to add, and then we're going to add 7 after that, right? Great. Well, how do we find out what this is here?
Divide.
So 3 divided by 2, and we go ahead and take 3 over 2 squared, and what is that?
Wait, 9 over 4.
Okay, Justin says 9/4. Are you with Justin on this one?
1.
I'm with Justin. Justin, thank you, Justin. And so this is going to be 9/4 here, right? And now what is going to go out here? Minus 9/4? Well, here I want to show you something. I'm writing down minus 9/4, but that's not really what we have to do. What do we have to do? Well, what happens is we have to remember that this 9/4 is being multiplied by 2. So what we have is, I'm going to do a little side. So we're going to have 2 times 9/4, which is 18/4, which is 9/2. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to subtract 9/2 out here instead. So now we have this. Okay, we're ready to rewrite our equation here? Yes, we are. Fx equals 2, and what's our perfect square? X plus, it's going to be half of this, 3/2 squared, and then we have to adjust this thing here. So say minus 9/2. How many halves do we have in 7?
14.
14 halves. So negative 9 plus 14, that's 5 halves, right? So that took a little doing. We had to sort of think carefully through this, didn't we? To do this. And so that will be our answer. Anybody check that in the calculator? You didn't check it? Well, we could distribute and all that, but to me, the thing that becomes problematic about that, as you want to call it, is fractions, right? Fractions, dealing with fractions, not not in too advanced a manner. Okay, then we go to number 38, which is the last one in this set. Now on this one, it's similar to 37, where we can factor out the 5, right? But I want to, for this very last one, show you an alternative way of doing this that might be more helpful to you. Do you remember we had the axis of symmetry formula, x equals negative b over 2a? Do you remember that? And so if we use this formula here for the axis of symmetry, what are we going to get? X is equal to negative 25 all over 2a. And so what is our axis of symmetry here going to be? 25 over 10. So that would be like 5 halves? 5 over 2. 5 halves. And so what we can do is, we know that's our axis of symmetry, and so we can find the vertex form. How can we do that? Well, what we would have is, we find g of 5 halves, or you could just use 2.5 equals 5 times 5 halves squared, or 2.5 squared, minus 25 times 2.5 plus 12. Okay, what are we going to get for that? See, we're going to get 25, so that'd be 125 fourths. And then we have 25 times 2.5, what is that, 62.5? Plus 12. Yeah. So, and we could change these to fractions and all that, but our calculator, 125 divided by 4 minus 62.5, and then the last one we had was minus or plus 12, right? Plus 12. So negative 19.25, is that what you got? So now we can write this, we can say g of x in vertex form is going to be 5. We're going to have x minus whatever that was, what is that, 5 halves, right? Squared minus 19.25. Okay, did anybody check that in your calculator, see if that's the same thing? It should be, I hope it is. I have at least 2 people checking it here. Presuming this is done correctly, which I haven't heard an answer on yet.
It is.
It is correct? Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say it isn't, but I put it in wrong.
So this is correct. Would you rather do the thing this way instead of completing the square?
I was kind of confused on that one.
And then
Which one would you rather do?
I don't know what you're doing here.
You don't know what this is? What it is, you're finding the axis of symmetry and you're plugging it in. And so once you have that axis of symmetry, you plug that in and you have everything else when you plug in 5/2. So this is going to give you your K, and this one here is going to equal your H. And you already have your A over here.
Where's the key?
K equals 19.25.
Where's your key?
We plugged in 5/2 into this equation, and we came up with this.
Oh,
Okay, and so you have to plug in, and I don't know which way is. It's sort of an even call. Which way is easier? And we could have done this using completing the square also. No. Anyway,
Completing the square.
you like that better?
Yeah.
Okay, you like the sort of the. Well, that's good, because I'm really glad, because it really shows how rigorous mathematicians you are inclined to be, because that's what some people shy away from. So that's good for you. What I'm going to do is hand out the tests, and I was looking for Karina's here. And I might. What I did is I curved the test score somewhat, so you can kind of see what you got on this, based on this. Let's see here. And Comple is gone. This is Robert's right here. Yeah, I'll pick that up later. And this is Riley's. So the idea is to go over this and see where you got this wrong. I'm going to look for yours, Angelica. I hope I have it here. Really? Not Angelica, Karina, sorry, Karina, called Karina, her sister's name. This one right here, that's Emma's. What I'm going to have to do for this one here, I can't find it. If I can't find it, I'm going to have to give Karina another one and tell her that she missed only 2. And I watched this one today. Okay, Karina. which I think I can do. Now I'll print it out. Search my board. One last ditch attempt at this. Okay, here's a blank test, so that's good. Let me see if I have one last to find Karina's here. Becky's, Karina's. Okay, I have yours. I have one for you though. I don't know what I did to yours, but I have a blank for you here. Okay. So we'll go over this real fast. Shouldn't take very long at all. Did you find out that you got the number about correct that you thought you might have got on it? Or you did worse or better than you thought you did? You don't know?
I didn't really.
You don't remember?
expect-
You didn't really have any great expectations on it? Now the first page really should have been quite easy. Is this the problem you have for number one?
Yeah.
And so here your exclusion is going to be x cannot equal 3. And so what you're going to be left with is this one right here. Okay? All right, does that make sense? And then when you graph the equation, you'll see a vertical asymptote at x equals 3, right? You'll see the vertical asymptote at x equals 3, and you'll see the error message when you go to table view, okay? All right. Then you can submit some test corrections too for improvements to your grade. How's that? You're ready to do that? Good. What are the exclusions to the domain here? Well, for this one, we know that none of these can equal 0. So x cannot equal 0, x cannot equal 1, x cannot equal -3. And so what we look for is these values here. And so we're going to have these, our answers right here for C. Okay? Are we okay on that
I
one?
think I passed on that.
Pardon me?
I think I took an educated test on that one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You really didn't have to. Let me show you why you didn't have to. Because of the calculator. Okay, you go here, clear, clear. So what you have is, you can just put the thing in here. So you have x squared over x times, what was it, x?
X plus 1. Oh, x minus 1.
X minus 1, x plus 3. Is it? Yeah, that's fine. And then we graph this thing, and we see two asymptotes,
Oh, yeah.
right? So we see the -3 and we see the +1, but we also have an asymptote, a discontinuity here, where x equals 0. So these would represent our 3 discontinuities where they are, and then they would manifest themselves here in the answer choices,
Yeah, I
okay?
didn't do that. I only went for the -1 and the positive threads flip them.
Did you get it right anyway?
Yeah, I got it right.
You go, okay. All right, but take the time to graph, and if you take the time to graph, you'll get a lot of these right that otherwise maybe you would have missed. Okay, this one here should have been the easiest one. 3 should be A, right? Fails the vertical line test. This one here, which one will not likely be seen? The whole, yeah, which is a point discontinuity. And we saw it right here. Remember when we graphed this thing? This is an example where we don't see the discontinuity at x equals 0. even though it is here. Okay? Next. Now this one here, if you graph this in the calculator, you should see something like this. And when you graph the thing, it'll look like this, right? And your answer is going to be B, right here. Any questions about that one? And it should have been pretty easy to graph. If you have questions about graphing these, let me know. Okay. Next, which function is increasing for all real numbers? What did you get for this one? You should have got A. Because A is the only one that increases for all real numbers. It's going to look something like this, but keeps on increasing. So really the first page, those 1 through 6, they were really pretty easy problems, 1 through 6. So I hope you did really well on that page.
And this one, I think.
Did you? You haven't? Okay, well, you know, what it is that a lot of tests, at least the way my tests are, is that most of the questions are going to be either easy or moderately easy. And if you get all those right, that adds up to a pretty decent test score, even if you struggle with the harder ones. Okay? And there are a couple that are sort of hard on this one. Okay, the graph is shown below. Which statement about the graph of f of x is true? What do you think for this one?
A.
A?
I got it.
Well, A, what it is, okay, these are the critical numbers, and we are decreasing all the way from x equals -2 to x equals 3, so A should be our correct answer. Okay?
On that one, I almost picked D because I was decreasing from 5 to 3.
Yeah. Decrease it from 5 to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to get these numbers mixed up. Sometimes you can be decreasing from x equals 5 to x equals 3 if you go the wrong way.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you got to be careful, make sure you're evaluating left to right.
Yeah.
So just be careful and deliberate about it, and that shouldn't be too hard of a problem. This one here, where is a relative maximum for the function observed? Well, it's going to be right here, where x equals 4. And so where means what x value, or what input value. So that would be 4. Next, now which of the following here is a parent function? This one should have been easy. Which one's this one? I had you take notes of the parent function. B is, right? B is the only one. And there are two things you can look for. Okay, in a parent function, you're not going to find negative signs. You're not going to find numbers other than 1. So if you see this negative sign here, this 2, they're kind of disqualifiers. Another thing is that as part of the graph of the function, you look for the point 1, 1 to be part of it. And if you look at all these, you're not going to get 1, 1 as part of the thing. And that's not like 100% of the time, but mostly. Okay. 10, a vertical asymptote is what kind of discontinuity? It'll be a non-removable discontinuity. Non-removable. And that goes back to the discontinuity t-shirt, remembering what it is. I think we reviewed this right before the test, didn't we? Yeah. So yeah, a vertical asymptote is non-removable. A a hole would be what kind of discontinuity? Removable. Okay, this one here, for this function, over what interval is the function decreasing? So you got x cubed plus 1.5x squared minus 6x. X cubed plus 1.56x squared. Minus 6x. 6x. And you graph the function, it looks like this. And so you see the function decreasing from here to here. So you can go different things. You can trace, use minimum. Well, how did you do that? If you
use
trace, if you just press trace, you can go up here, say, oh, I've got another thing on here. Let me get rid of this. Now I'll go here. Now I'll go to trace. So now we have the cursor. So you can kind of see that we have a maximum here about -2, and then a minimum down here of about 1. So -2 to 1 will be our answer. So -2 to 1, answer choice C. Okay? Next, which following represents the end behavior for this function? Limit as x approaches infinity equals
D.
should be D, okay? Because what happens is when you graph this function, you see this here, right? And so as x goes to infinity, f of x goes to 0. So y equals 0 is like a horizontal asymptote to that. And if you graph this in a calculator and check the table view, you can see it too. Go here and put 1 over x. And we graph this, we see that. We go to table view. You can see as we go, okay, as x gets bigger, y approaches 0. So that would be that one. Next, 13. What is the relative minimum of the function? It so happens that I erased that other one, but if you take x cubed plus 1.5 x squared and it's going to be, what was it? Minus 6x minus 2. In graph, you have a relative minimum down here. So if we go to second, trace, we can pick minimum, and it says left bound. We're to the left of what we want. Press enter, and just squiggle to the right. Enter, enter. And so we have a minimum of -5.5, which is answer choice B. Next, which of the following is bounded? What'd you get for that one?
I got A.
Should be A, because if you graph this function, you'll get this, bounded above and below, which means bounded. So yes, A is your correct answer for that. A. Okay, next 15. The rational function, what happens for this one, you should get, if I talk to you about Betsy, if bottom equals top, use coefficient. So our answer is going to be y equals 5/2 for this one. And if you go to the table view and go all the way to the right, you should be able to see that also, right? Approach that. You have questions about that? Okay. And on the next test that we're going to have next week that includes this content plus a little more, there's going to be a question like that. So just watch out for that and you'll be good. Okay, we get to these right here. This function contains how many discontinuities? Okay, it contains 3. X cannot equal 0, X cannot equal 1, X cannot equal -3. And if you graph this in your calculator, go to your table view, you'll see 3 errors sitting right there. And so you can go 3. And the way this is set up for the grid, you can mark 3 anywhere in here. And positive is assumed if the thing is not negative. So that's a correct answer for that. Okay, number 17, we have this function here, f of t equals 6 plus 88t minus 16t squared. You're looking for the maximum elevation. And so what you're looking for is, when you graph this thing, it's going to look like this. And you're going to get an xy coordinate up here. And elevation is going to be this coordinate right here. So let's put that in the calculator. 6 plus 88x minus 16t squared. And you can go to table view on this. What I would do is go to the window like 0 to 6, I think, and I'm going to go 0 to maximum of about 150, and I'm going to go by tens. And you graph this function, you go like this. And you can trace, I don't know what trace gives you. If you trace, here you have y of 126, that's not quite the maximum. And you can't see what it is, but it's to the nearest foot. Your answer is going to be 127. And so if you can go to second trace, maximum 4, and you go over here to the left, press enter, go to the right, and press enter, enter. And so you get 127. I got some people from my classes who got 126 on this. I don't know why. 126 is wrong, 127 is right. I don't know if that's a problem for anybody here. Let's see. And then, of course, 127 would be the y coordinate, so you'd fill in the 127 like this. So you have 127. Okay? And for the last one was one that caused some people problems. You have negative x squared. So negative x squared is it minus 10x plus 8? Or minus 18? Is that what it is? Okay. You graph this. I'm going to go to zoom 6. And so what you're looking for is you're looking for the x value where that occurs. So if you go to second trace, and I go to my maximum, I'm going to go to the left, and then to the right, enter, enter. And so you're looking for the x value where that occurs. Well, that's actually -5. So -5 is our answer for this. And we have to use our negative sign here. So that would be our answer to number 18. Okay, were you able to make all your corrections on this? Yeah? See where, and file those away where you went astray. So hand those in again to me and we will, I'll approve your grade on this, okay?
On here you said
Yeah, that'd be fine.
14 out of 18,
Uh-huh.
but I only marked 3 wrong.
So you think you got 15 right
Yeah.
instead? Yeah, I don't know if it was because of the way you mishit or my key. Anybody else noticed that it was wrong or what they did or? Anyway, let's go ahead and